Thanks, Kate, and thanks to the organisers of the conference for allowing me to update you on AusQuest's progress over the past 12 months and give you a bit of insight into what we've planned for the rest of this year. As you can see from the slide up on the screen, the next 6 months we've got are going to be a very busy one, including some significant drilling programs, especially at our Baladonia and Jubilee projects in WA, and hopefully at a new porphyry copper discovery that we recently secured in southern Peru. The photo is from our Baladonia project with the drilling operations getting underway. A disclaimer that you can read at your leisure. In 2017, we signed a strategic alliance agreement with South32, who at the time were looking to add a greenfields exploration component to their growth strategy. The agreement was designed to help us make the usual Tier 1 discoveries that could be developed under the South32 banner by providing funding to advance our projects. Under the agreement, they have exclusive rights to our projects and can earn a 70% interest in each of them by spending $4.5 million US. They can increase this holding to 80% by completing basically a PFS study scoping. This would leave AusQuest with 20 to 30% equity in a South32 development, a fantastic outcome for our shareholders, but a difficult task meeting their requirements. AusQuest manages the programs for which we get a fee of 15%, which helps cover the company's operating costs and enables generative work to continue without going back to shareholders for more money. We're proud of our alliance with South and have an excellent working relationship with them, which hopefully will eventually benefit both parties. Over the past 6 years, they've provided in excess of $30 million for exploration over our projects. We have 4 projects currently being funded under the alliance in WA, with Mount Davis still to get a Guernsey, hopefully not too far away. At Baladonia, we believe we've found a new Broken Hill type terrain that has never been explored. We commenced drilling here in April, late April. At Jubilee, we're targeting Norilsk-style deposits, Norilsk being one of the world's largest nickel mines based in Russia. Drilling is planned to commence here during the second half of this year. At Morrissey, we've identified coarse-grained magnetite, which is easily upgradable to plus 70% iron, with a multitude of targets left to be tested. Whilst at Mora, we think there's still potential for nickel, copper and PGEs. A closer look at Baladonia. This is potentially an exciting development for the company, as we now know we have similar rocks to those that host the giant deposits at Cannington in northwest Queensland and Broken Hill in New South Wales. This type of geological terrain is relatively rare on a global scale, and where you find it, you tend to find Tier 1 deposits, so we're quite excited by the opportunity. The prospective host sequences are known to contain thin banded iron formations, garnet quartzites and some pegmatites, all of which we have found in our drilling at our Tea Tree prospect. In fact, the yellow star on the schematic you can see on the lower right-hand side of this slide is roughly the location where we think our Tea Tree deposit or prospect fits. Not too far from the red dot, which is really what we're trying to find, but we're not sure how far, whether it's 100 metres or a kilometre. They're things that we're looking at the moment. During the year, we completed detailed gravity surveys over selected targets and confirmed drilling targets at each site. The strong correlation between magnetics and gravity is considered a good sign for the presence of prospective host rocks and possibly mineralisation. A program of 13 diamond holes for approximately 5,000 metres was designed in consultation with South to provide an initial test of these targets. This program commenced in April and it is expected to take 2 to 3 months to complete. We expect initial assay results probably around the back end of June. At Jubilee Lake, it's a new nickel project located roughly 500 k's east of Kalgoorlie that was recently accepted under the Alliance. It's a number of conceptual similarities to the giant deposits at Norilsk, which is one of the world's top nickel producers. Geophysical data over Jubilee suggests the Redona Shear is a major deep-seated feeder structure for the large volume of flood basalts that have been extruded in this region. You can see the flood basalts as a stipple in the magnetic images. There's thousands of square kilometres of them. And the structures are likely control on the location of intrusions associated with this magmatic event, which are the priority targets for nickel, copper and PGE sulfides in these types of environments. Ground EM surveys along the shear identified a strong conductive response adjacent to the structure that will be tested by drilling later in the year. Modelling has shown this is a flat-lying conductor, so it's probably within the West Officer Basin sediments, very large in size, which is a bit unusual, and occurring at depths of about 600 metres. The target is likely to occur within these West Officer Basin sediments, which are known to contain evaporites and other sulphur sources and hydrites, which are an important ingredient for these types of deposits. Similar sedimentary sequences host the mafic intrusions at Norilsk, where the giant nickel sulfide deposits occur. At our Morrissey project, which is located within the Narria terrain 600 k's north of Perth, initial drilling highlighted potential for magnetite ores that can be easily upgraded to plus 70% iron, with very low impurities at two of the targets that we tested, with a single hole at each. It also identified favourable host rocks for nickel, copper and PGEs. Based on this limited work, we completed detailed gravity over 6 areas where there are strong magnetic signatures in order to assess the potential for possible magnetite concentration and to prioritise targets for further drilling. Modelling of this data is in progress and so far has produced strong correlations with magnetic targets. At our Waterfall prospect, where we drilled 1 hole, you can see the gravity anomalies, which are the contours, strongly correlate with the magnetics and will now be used to estimate size potential for the magnetic targets being tested. The table at the bottom right shows the initial iron grades of roughly 30 to 35% iron have been upgraded to plus 70% iron for all the 10-metre intervals that were processed, which is a very encouraging result for magnetite production. Further drilling we're currently planning, and that will depend on the results of the gravity, but we're hoping to do that later this year. Briefly turning to Peru, we have a number of projects, so bear with me. In Peru, we believe we're slowly but surely zeroing in on a new porphyry copper discovery with at least 2 candidates ready for drilling over the next 12 months. Both occur in the Serra de Fierro region, one at Cangallo and one at Pirata, where much of our exploration effort has been focused over the past 12 months. Permitting for drilling at Cangallo is well advanced and expected to be approved in the second half of this year, with further drilling shortly thereafter, with further drilling in Pirata still in the planning stage and likely to be ready to be drilled in early 2024. The copper pedigree of the southern Peru is clearly evident in these slides with many major copper mines under production and under development at Quellaveco. Drilling late last year at the Pirata project confirmed potential for multiple porphyry systems to occur within an east-west structural corridor that defines the contact between batholithic intrusions to the south and volcanics to the north, a common geological setting for large-scale deposits along the coastal regions of South America. Alteration indicators such as moly and bismuth tellurium, some of the key pathfinders, as well as high-temperature clay mineralogy, pyrophyllite and diaspore, which tell us it's getting hot and close, have been intersected by this initial broad-spaced drilling, confirming the potential for multiple porphyry systems within this structure and suggesting that copper-rich portions, we certainly have copper numbers in there, are likely offset laterally from where the current drilling is. So we still need to find the cause of these lithocaps. Further drilling is required. Recent rock chip sampling within a newly granted tenement between the targets 1 and 4 has outlined the strongest surface copper anomaly we have seen so far within the Parada project. Just happened to come along a bit later than the drilling. So we think our target 7 is a priority target for future drilling. Targets, it's a robust copper plus moly anomaly, typical elements in a porphyry, that occurs over an area of about 2,000 by 800 metres before it disappears under cover, both to the northeast and a little bit to the southwest. The high copper values, which are all those large magenta dots, are all greater than 0.5% copper, which is potential ore grade for a porphyry, and they occur marginal to high temperature clay mineralogy that you can see in those white outlines, which is indicative of lithocap environment, which says we're proximal to a porphyry system. So we've got the ingredients to say we're near to the top of this porphyry. We've done geological mapping, it's being compiled as we speak, and we're about to design a program and get it permitted so we can start drilling there early in the new year. The Kangaroo prospect has only recently been acquired. It's located along the same east-west structural corridor, but closer to the coast and at an elevation of about 1,200 metres. Numerous rock chip samples have assays in excess of 0.1 up to 0.7% copper and some gold up to 2.5 grams. It's in a caldera-like structure that's 5 by 2 kilometres in size, and that defines the ultimate target area for this porphyry system. Copper occurs in multiple vein porphyritic rocks and volcanics and is associated with sericite alteration, suggesting the porphyry system is at least partially exposed. Drill permitting for up to 20 sites is in progress, and we expect those approvals next quarter so we can start drilling. So let's take a look at what's in front of us and what could materially affect our share price, at least in the foreseeable future. Drilling at Balladonia could find the beginnings of a new mineral province. There has been so little exploration in this area that any indication of base metals, especially another Cannington or Broken Hill, would be a significant step forward. As a minimum, the drilling should at least confirm the base metal prospectivity of this area. Drilling at Jubilee is much higher risk, but the prize is even greater. If results demonstrate there is a good chance of a Norilsk-like ore body in this area, so the sky's the limit, basically. At Morrissey, less risky, with the initial indications for a sizable magnetite resource being pretty good, maybe excellent. In this case, resource size and depth are the key unknowns, given results to date show that a premium iron product can be easily produced from what we have found so far in one drill hole. Moore is a bit slower as the area is under crop. It's in farmland, but we're looking at possible shallow drilling later in this year to advance prospects that we've highlighted in that area as well. In Peru, we have 2 porphyry copper targets that we plan to be drilling over the coming 6 to 12 months. We're already a long way through the permitting process for Cangallo and hope to be drilling there in the latter part of this year, with drilling at target 7 to follow first half of next year. Success in any one of these programs will significantly change the value of the company as we continue to target tier 1 assets that can have a South 32 banner attached to them. I hope you'll agree, an exciting time, maybe a nervous time for our shareholders. Finally, our capital structure. We're relatively small, have a small market cap of about 14 million, depending on the day, and a cash position a little bit under 3 million, with access to further funding thanks to the alliance with South 32. We have a relatively small board, but it's an experienced one, which keeps our costs down and allows us to maximise dollars into the ground, which is what we've routinely done over the past few years. So if you'd like to know more, you're welcome to come and see us, either myself or Greg Hancock at our booth. if you haven't already done so. But I guess being the second afternoon, you might have to be fairly quick. Okay, thanks for listening.